After 2 weeks of NFL action in 2017, there's one clear takeaway that won't go away: the AFC West is the best. 3 of its teams are among the 8 that have started 20. The Chiefs and Raiders are picking up where they left off with impressive offensive-minded victories. But how about those Broncos, who have suddenly got their passing, rushing and scoring groove back as well? Denver has the best defense of the trio, while Oakland has the best offense. Kansas City has the best all-around team so far. Here's how they stack up in relation to each other. For now, the teams form a powerful triumvirate versus the rest of the league's Super Bowl contenders. Kareem Hunt has them ahead in the AFC title chase, as the rookie has flown out of the gate to spark the offense in the second half twice in big games. He's not about to slow down anytime soon. This week at Chargers, their first AFC West test, Sunday, Derek Carr and Michael Crabtree took care of most of the business against the Jets, but Marshawn Lynch had plenty of fun running and dancing, too. They are balanced, dangerous and explosive in every way. This week at Redskins, a national primetime showcase, Sunday, Trevor Siemian and C.J. Anderson are delivering the necessary complementary football for their defense, which has a whole new brand of energy under Vance Joseph and Joe Woods. This is a more complete contender, one season removed from the Super Bowl hangover. This week at Bills, their first road trip, Sunday, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones haven't even exploded yet, and their offense has hummed along thanks to more great running from Devonta Freeman. The fast young defense is happy to have its old glue guy back at cornerback, Desmond Trufant. This week at Lions, where 2 friendly Matts meet, Sunday, Ben Roethlisberger hasn't exactly lit it up quite yet, and Le'Veon Bell has been running more in neutral. But they're making plenty enough big plays on both sides of the ball with a much improved defense overall. This week at Bears, a march from Heinz to Solidar, Sunday. You knew you were going to get that Tom Brady in New Orleans, making things look big easy again no matter what injuries befell them. Now it's time for the defense to regroup and make a notable statement. This week versus Texans, to welcome back Bill O'Brien, Sunday. Ravens don't really change up their winning MO, do it with a lot of defense, a little running and a little Joe Flacco. The schedule lines up well for them to return to thick of a top wild card. This week versus Jaguars, a jaunt to London, Sunday. The horoscope for the Leos has been better than expected, as Matthew Stafford is earning his money by knocking off 2 playoff-caliber teams with tough defenses back-to-back. Now comes an excellent chance to take it one step further against the reigning NFC champions. This week versus Falcons, when Ford meets Mercedes-Benz, Sunday. Hurry we go again with Aaron Rodgers. 2 tackles hurt, Jordy Nelson hurt, the defense still capable of getting lost in a hurry. There's a ton of him to help this team win, but good thing he can share the burden better with Ty Montgomery. This week versus Bengals, a Lambeau get-well game, Sunday. That blowout loss to Denver was unusual and unfamiliar territory in the young bright careers of Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. They also faced a team with the personnel to expose what were major defensive concerns up front and in the secondary going into the season. Even with Elliott, Prescott will be pressed to put them on his back more. This week at Cardinals, a date in the desert, Monday. A win is a win for Pete Carroll's team. The offense was ugly again, as Russell Wilson ran around trying to save himself and make plays behind that line, but the effective power rushing of Chris Carson can be a game-changer to open everything else up as they would like. This week at Titans, where Puget Sound meets Nashville Sound, Sunday. 12. Carolina Panthers 20 last week 12 according to this week's rankings. They are the league's worst undefeated team. Cam Newton was still way off against Buffalo and now has to deal with no Greg Olsen. Their defense looks very good, but there needs to be more proof against a legitimate offense, which they will see in their second home game. This week versus Saints, their first division foe, Sunday. 13. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 10 last week 18. Jameis Winston didn't need to do much after finding Mike Evans for 6, as the running game and defense took over nicely for the Bucs. That's a terrific delayed start, making us believe Tampa Bay will live up to the Hard Knocks hype. This week at Vikings, a ship-shape battle, Sunday. 14. Miami Dolphins 10 last week 19. It's only one game, but man, Jay Cutler seems like he is a perfect fit for the Fins. With Jay powering through and a defense that looked better, a return playoff trip can happen for Adam Gasser's team in a top-loaded AFC. This week at Jets, 2 more good days for the Jays, Sunday. 15. Philadelphia Eagles 11 last week 13. Carson Wentz is balling and dealing, but eventually the lack of a legitimate running game will mean he's going to take a lot of licks in the pocket, dropping back so often. He can be expected to be the team's best runner every week, as well as passing on fire downfield. This week versus Giants, visitors from Jersey, Sunday 16. Minnesota Vikings 11 last week 15. Now there's suddenly injury-related mystery about two quarterbacks, Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Bradford. With Case Keenum, it's case closed on having an effective and sometimes explosive offense. This week versus Buccaneers, when Pillagers meet Pirates, Sunday 17. Houston Texans 11 last week 20. Deshaun Watson has provided a nice spark, even with the inefficient play that comes with his inexperience. He was the only choice to help Houston overcome its big offensive line problems, but he'll need more of a boost from the skill players. This week at Patriots, minus the Letterman Jackets, Sunday 18. Tennessee Titans 11 last week 17. They're trying to resettle their offensive identity. The first big part was making their rushing attack more about Derrick Henry. The second will be Marcus Mariota getting into a zone with all of his wideouts. This week versus Seahawks, when Southeast meets Pacific Northwest, Sunday 19. Jacksonville Jaguars 11 last week 16. The Jags saw their defense dragged down by a good offensive line and strong running game, as they couldn't generate the same strengths against the pass. Regardless, it will be hard to win much with Blake Bortles playing that way without Allen Robinson. This week versus Ravens, a run-heavy black and blue affair, Sunday 20. Arizona Cardinals 11 last week 25. Carson Palmer has seen his offensive line, backfield and receiving core ravaged by injuries, and the crumbing is in full effect. It's on the defense to keep making big plays to save the day. This week versus Cowboys, when old meets young, Monday 21. Washington Redskins 11 last week 28. The Redskins went into LA with a right plan of going power run heavy to take pressure off Kirk Cousins in a new offense. It also better protects and rests their defense. Cousins will need to figure it out soon, however, with shootouts ahead. This week versus Raiders, from one bay to another, Sunday 22. Los Angeles Rams 11 last week 21. Todd Gurley is running and receiving with more purpose, but they need a lot more pop from their passing attack and rush defense. This week at 49ers, a young and new times 2, Thursday 23. New York Giants 0-2 last week 14. If there's any team built to recover from 0-2, it would be them, given how strong their defense is at full strength. The problem is the defenses of the Eagles, Chargers, Broncos and Seahawks can go after their struggling offense in 4 of the next 5 games. Big Blue might already have blown everything. This week at Eagles, in a unfriendly neighborhood rivalry, Sunday 24. Buffalo Bills 11 last week 22. The Bills have tightened the screws defensively with their personnel responding to Sean McDermott, but their offensive limitations didn't take long to manifest. This week versus Broncos, a pair of bucking beasts, Sunday 25. New Orleans Saints 0-2 last week 24. The Saints' optimism that their defense has improved was quickly squashed by Sam Bradford and Tom Brady. There's once again too much on Drew Brees to carry everything. This week at Panthers, a must-win division situation, Sunday 26. Los Angeles Chargers 0-2 last week 23. Anthony Lynn is making it a point for his team to close out games better. That hasn't materialized, as they've fallen just short on offense and special teams. They're already done as they face 3 perfect teams ahead of them in the AFC West. This week versus Chiefs, a must-win division situation, Sunday 27. Cleveland Browns 0-2 last week 27. DeShone Kizer had a rough go in Baltimore, but so do a lot of young QBs. Let's hope his head is right all around to keep growing on the fly. His first win is coming soon. This week at Colts, where somebody has to win, Sunday 28. Chicago Bears 0-2 last week 26. John Fox isn't making a change from Mike Glennon, despite the erratic play that's been more costly than competent. That tune will change toward Mitchell Trubisky as the Bears sink further in the standings. This week versus Steelers, a remembrance of defenses past, Sunday 29. San Francisco 49ers 0-2 last week 30. The young defense is playing better than expected versus the pass, and Carlos Hyde is a stud. Brian Hoyer, however, has been a shaky stopgap so far. This week versus Rams, the best early chance for a Shanahan win, Thursday 30. Cincinnati Bengals 0-2 last week 29. Andy Dalton is still the starting QB, and Marvin Lewis is still the coach. At this rate, those might not be facts after some more bad home losses. This week at Packers, when Hootie plays in Green Bay, Sunday 31. Indianapolis Colts 0-2 last week 31. Jacoby Brissett gave them a few good moments at QB, and the defense played more inspired at home. But the lacking talent to finish games is glaring. This week versus Browns, when Kaiser goes back to the state, Sunday 32. New York Jets 0-2 last week 32. Josh McCown and Jermaine Kearse might be providing most of the highlights for the team this season, because the defense will have very few. This week versus Dolphins, when they can be totally sunk, Sunday.